with that, this is a great way to transition into more NBA stuff because we got to talk about the Pistons. I'm wearing my Kate Cunningham shirt in honor of this. So we got to talk about the Pistons. Uh, so this notification came across my cellular telephone the other day. NBA rumors: Pistons to heavily pursue Nick Claxton, Malik Monk, Gary Harris in free agency. So let's go through these one at a time. So Nick Claxton is a center. Played this past year for Brooklyn. He's played his whole career with Brooklyn. Looking at his stats, and as someone who never watched any Brooklyn games, I like him. I mean, like, I'd be okay with this. Like, look, we've already amassed a lot of bad centers, and I don't know if Nick Claxton is really all that much of an improvement from any one of them. I mean, what do we got? We got Jalen Duren, we got Isaiah Stewart, and we got James Wiseman. Well, James Wiseman can be thrown to the garbage. So this guy, he already averages more points than James Wiseman a game. This past season, he had 11 points. Want to say that just a little short of a career high for him. Just a couple of years ago, he was Defensive Player of the Year. He got some Defensive Player of the Year votes. He got Most Improved Player of the Year votes. I mean, like at this point, he's probably entering his 25-year-old season. He's still pretty young. You might be able to get some of those prime years. I mean, it really depends on how well this franchise can even develop anybody, which we have seen is not great. In the playoffs, he's got playoff experience. Again, you'd be getting a guy who is not like just a nobody. I'd say. I think he's a solid center. Certainly would be better than James Wiseman. So if they pick this guy up and he's the James Wiseman replacement, and your center room is Jalen Duren, Nick Claxton, and Isaiah Stewart, I mean, that's not exactly a scary center room. But hey, you know what? It shows at least that they want to improve the team and that they're not just going to run out James Wiseman. They're not just going to accept that you have a garbage center on your team. The other name there, of course, was Malik Monk. And this, to me, if they can somehow convince Malik Monk to come and play for their team, I would be ecstatic. This would be the best pickup that they could get. First of all, he was second this past year in Sixth Man of the Year votes. He also got Comeback Player of the Year votes. He was 12th in that. Or Clutch Player of the Year, not Comeback Player of the Year. I don't know why I said Comeback Player of the Year when I realized he never left any other year. But he shoots at an effective field goal percentage of 52% or 53%. He's about a 15 points a game kind of guy, 5 assists game. I mean, he shoots 35% from three, which is, pretty good. I mean, this team needs shooters. 35% is not, running away with the 3-point specialist title, but it's probably better than most of the players on this team. I mean, like, the thing is, like, as a Pistons fan, and as a basketball, like a president of basketball operations, Trajan Langdon cannot exactly be picky with who he is he wants to bring in. And, Malik Monk, obviously he's just a role player, he's 6 man. He's not necessarily going to be your starter. And he's already, I believe, 20. He's 25 years old, so he'd probably get some of those prime years as he enters into his late 20s. He's got playoff experience this past season, or the past 2 seasons, because he played in, obviously, play-in last year, which I guess they don't count on Basketball Reference as playoffs. But he's got playoff experience. In the playoffs, he averaged 19 points a game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. That's pretty good for a guy coming off the bench to get those kind of numbers. And again, like he would be he'd be a great fit. He would add to the shooters, which is to say, be a shooter on the team because we don't currently have one. Don't give me Cade Cunningham. I know I'm wearing the Cade shirt. Cade has not proven that he is a reliable shooter by any stretch of the imagination. So I would love Malik Monk. Now, the name that I am a little nervous about is one Gary Harris. So Gary Harris, for one, I believe he's the oldest player. Yeah, he's the oldest player. So nicest thing I could say about him is that he's got a lot of experience. But He is clearly not a good player, at least not anymore. This past year with Orlando, he was a starter in just 27 games out of 54 total games played. So he didn't even play most of the season, or he didn't play the whole season, I should say. He shoots a little higher from the three, 37%. So that's okay. And again, effective field goal percentage of 56%. But just 6 points a game, just a rebound a game, like an assist a game. Like he doesn't give you the counting stats, which I know is not the whole thing. And I know there's probably more advanced numbers, but if you're going to get Gary Harris, that better not be your big move, I guess. Like, I understand you have the worst record in the league. Nobody's going to want to come play for you. You're in the midst of rebuilding a rebuild, so to speak. But no, I would not want Gary Harris. I'd be okay if they moved on from him. Moved on. If they did not choose to sign him, if the Pistons offseason, as far as free agency goes, because I can't imagine they're going to sign an extensive amount of players because it's going to be hard to convince a lot of players to come here. But if they get Malik Monk and they get Nick Claxton, I would consider that a successful free agency. Now, obviously, they could still make moves with trades or, signing their own guy, like if they extend Cade or something, if they fire Monty Williams, if they do other things, and then they sign Nick Claxton, they sign Malik Monk, they extend Cade. They show that they have an interest in putting a product on the court, on the hardwood, that is actually worthwhile. Then maybe I'll give them a little bit of respect. But the fact that there are rumors with good players in Nick Claxton and Malik Monk, not great players, not elite players, but good players, players that can be successful here in a team that is, dying for someone to come play a role. Like, it at least gives me some hope in that, okay, well, Trajan Langdon is interested in players that are not nobodies. He's not interested in the Marvin Bagleys of the world or the James Wisemans of the world or even of the Isaiah Stewarts of the world. The fact that he's even going after Claxton to me tells me that probably James Wiseman days are numbered, which is good because if you can't identify the fact that James Wiseman is one of the singular worst basketball players, maybe in the NBA right now, or just in NBA history, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't. I mean, obviously, you already fired Troy Weaver, the guy who opted to bring in James Wiseman. Let me remind you how we even got James Wiseman. We had Sadiq Bey. Now, I'm just gonna pull up Sadiq Bey really quick. So Sadiq Bey, he's not a superstar. He's not even a great player. I mean, he was an all rookie, by the way. But 13 points, six boards, an assist a game. He's not blowing you away. We traded Sadiq Bey straight up, basically. This is how the exchange goes. For James Wiseman. I will never, ever let that go. I don't care if Sadiq Bey ends up as like the journeyman of journeymen. He is light years more watchable as a player than James Wiseman. And look, to get back on topic, Nick Claxton, light years better than James Wiseman. Probably. Hopefully. He couldn't be worse, right? I mean, it's pretty hard to be worse. Like, I guess in my mind, like the fact that they are going after things that I see as like, okay, there's actually, and again, nothing has happened. Free agency obviously hasn't opened. The finals are still going on, and trades aren't open either. Like, it at least shows me that Trajan Langdon and company, seemingly, they might be interested in the things that are clearly problems for this team that Troy Weaver just completely neglected and focused on just hiring Monty Williams, essentially, and hoping he would fix all of his problems. Now, none of these moves would give me ultimate hope that Trajan Langdon has a plan. They give me medium to small levels of hope. If he trades Jalen Duren, if he trades Ivy or Cade Cunningham, and he gets like a haul, it's like, okay, I can identify what the plan is. Or if he extends Cade, like if he does something to where I can be like, okay, Here's the plan. You're extending Kate Cunningham. Okay. You're going to have to build around him. Your moves outside of that are going to be to bring in players that would make Kate Cunningham his best and make those players that you're bringing in as good around him as possible. Right? So this news was a bit hopeful, and I don't want to have too much hope with the Pistons because all they have done is hurt me. For 15 years, they've hurt Pistons fans across the street. I was going to say across the world, but it's really not. There's not that many of us. Certainly not anymore. If you went I don't know, let's say, I was going to say 15 years ago. If you went 20 years ago, there was a lot of Pistons fans. I mean, obviously they win a championship, but there was a lot of Pistons fans in the state of Michigan. They were the talk of the town. Obviously, you win a championship. It was basically between the Pistons and the Red Wings of which team was bigger in the city of Detroit. Probably the Red Wings overall, but it wasn't like it was like an easy battle, right? Like Pistons were at least as popular as the Red Wings back in the day. And especially, obviously they have a lot of history. I don't want to go on a ramble too much, but overall, I'm happy about this. And hopefully it's a sign of goodness. Hopefully it's a sign that we actually have a competent president of basketball ops in the administration, and he can try to make something of a competitive basketball team. I don't know what they're going to do with this draft pick, if they're going to trade it, if they're going to keep it and just take whoever's the best player available. I don't know. That will also reveal something to me, especially given the fact that this is a pretty weak draft class, so it might be worth it to trade. I don't know. But at least this rumor gives me something something to give. I don't know. It's the Pistons, man. There's not a whole lot of hope around here. Hey there, what you just watched was actually a clip from a larger show that we do every Tuesday night. What are you doing Tuesday night? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button so that you don't miss out on any more of our weekly shows every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there.